We all know that we are at the moment in the financial crisis. Professor Buddha just explained us a few things about this. The question, however, is how this crisis affects tourist behavior, our consumer behavior, and how the industry is responding to that. Well, it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to interview Mr. Frank Oostdam from the ANVR, the Netherlands Association of Tour Operators and Travel Agents in the Netherlands, to talk about this issue a little bit more in depth. Mr. Oostdam, maybe you could start with introducing yourself a little bit and the organization you're working for.
Frank Oostdam, since 1979, managing director for the ANVR, which is the Dutch association. And we combine travel agents, tour operators, MICE companies, business travel companies. And since the 1st of January this year, I'm also chairman, president of the association as well. And a long history in, not in traveling, but with retailing and on the wholesale side. Also, I worked in the car industry, also did some wholesale and the sales functions. And I'm really very much involved into retail thinking, wholesale thinking, and very much fascinated also about what's going on in this value chain. And we hope to have the discussion on this topic.
I hope to be able to talk with you a little bit about consumer behavior as such, but also how the industry responds to that, and also what it means for the travel agents and the tour operators in the chain of tour operating, the new roles, the new position that they have to take. But let me start by asking you a few questions about the consumer themselves. How does the crisis affect tourism in general at the global level? Can you say a little bit?
Well, if you look at the outlook and if you look at the figures of the WTO, the World Tourism Organization, it's not that much affected. On the contrary, I think if you look at the figures, we reached a milestone in 2012. We had 1 billion tourists on the move. Every 1 out of 7 people in the global population, which I think it's, well, just imagine 1 out of 7 is crossing a border. And what the WTO is saying, I fully agree, those 1 billion people, they change the world because they make that tourism is of growing importance to national economies and to job creation. And for me, I think I think that tourism finally gets the recognition they deserve because it's increasingly also perceived as being, well, the motor for economic growth. And so the figures look good.
So it seems as if while we are in crisis, people are still traveling.
Well, that's if you look to from a European point of view. But if you look from a worldwide point of view, if you look at what is happening, and we're going to see lots of figures at the ITB conference later on. But if you see the figures and the destinations and on the continents, you see China. I read some figures from now till 2020. China and the Chinese people will grow every year with 10%, spending more money. The Russians spending more money. Europe being a very saturated market, but still the most important destination. So the figures don't look that bad.
No. So it seems as if tourism has grown from a kind of luxury good towards a kind of a basic need for people.
I think that's the case. I think that if you look at what is happening, and especially when you look to Europe, then and that's really also an accomplishment of the travel sector, is that we have holidays are growing to be a basic need for people, and that's caused by economic growth and by a growing of national incomes. But also, and I think that's a little bit underexposed, I think also it's an accomplishment of the travel sector. It's not only the demand side, rising demand, but it's also due to the fact that seemingly we as a sector are very much capable and very much into offering a wide array, a wide variety of several kinds of holidays. So it's not only the demand, it's also our accomplishment as an industry.
So if we move then to the travel behavior itself, the Future Foundation in the UK recently did research, and they said that 70% of the Germans is not affected by the crisis into their plans of holidays. Could you respond to this?
Well, I'm a little bit jealous about the Germans because, first of all, they play better football than our country does. I'm not even annoyed anymore because they play so much better that there's no annoyance anymore. But to be more serious, I think that if you look at the German figures and I look at the travel and bookings figure of my German friends, well, they can't, and they do not, but they can't complain. If I look at our figures in Holland, then we had a very bad January month. It was really a consumer strike. Nobody bought, nobody did any booking, but we saw a very good February month. So we were well above the figures from February last year. So I think we are catching up there in a reasonable tempo.
But I think before the crisis, there was time that people used to travel always further, more frequent.
Yeah, but
has that changed?
No, that's. I think there are two trends, and we talked about trends just now with Mr. Burda. But if you look at the travel sector, I think there are two major trends. One is the long-term trend, and the long-term trend is something that we think, and we've done some research in Holland also. We see some international researchers. And they say that the future traveler will go further away, they will go more often but shorter, since we all got 20, 25 on average holidays, so we have to choose and we go short on holiday. So what we see is a long-term trend, more often shorter but longer. But because of this financial and economic crisis, we see some things happening there, some booking crisis behavior, such as people go soberer, so they go a little bit. You see some trickling down across all the accommodation types. So if you go to a hotel 1 year, then you go to an apartment the year after because of the crisis. You see in Holland at least very much popularity of all-inclusive holidays. So people know what they are going to spend and not waiting for any surprises. And the strange thing is that we also see that we have booking peaks when salaries are paid out, which is good on the one hand because, well, then they choose for a holiday. On the other hand, I don't think it's a very good signal because it seems that people are not very inclined to commit themselves for a longer period. So that's a mixed feeling. And then we have a very strange Dutch character because we are very much price-oriented in our market, but for one reason or another, they are very much price-oriented if they do the booking. But once they go on holiday and they set one foot on the airport at Schiphol or wherever, they forget what they did. They lose their price orientation and they just spend money. That's also a strange
additional things and
yeah. So it's all-inclusive, it's sober, it's shorter, not that far. And that's the short-term trend. And I must admit that the short-term trend is taking too long at the moment. And if I look at the scenarios Mr. Burda has given us, it will take a little bit longer. But in general, we think that long-term trend is that people want to travel.
And if we look specifically at the booking behavior of people, is there a change noticeable?
Yeah, there's one word for that. They book late. Yeah. And this is not a typical Dutch situation. This is really an international phenomenon. People here know, I think, that people book late. They are not inclined to make a commitment for a longer time. And it's like, I want a holiday and I want it now. Last week we had some stories about people arriving at the travel shop, but also if you make bookings on the internet, but at the travel shop, and they book a journey, a round trip to Australia for next week. And that's the thing we see now. So it's a very much, although it's a basic need, it's a very much impulse-oriented behavior at the moment. And, well, we have to adapt to that. Yeah. So we have to be very flexible in working with this changing booking patterns, because on the one hand, it's not that bad, because we don't have that much peaks anymore if you look at the bookings. And I'm sure that's also in the rest of, Europe. I think it has flattened out. We have more moderate booking patterns, which is for the industry, for the sector, it makes things very easy. So we have to be very flexible and have to adapt, because I'm sure it's not because of this crisis, But this late booking trend is something which is a trend which doesn't go away. It's an irreversible trend. I think we should adapt, and we do. And the buzzword for that is yield. So we have to keep the demand and the supply of our holidays and the offers we make to our consumers and to our customers. We have to be very flexible in that. It's like the stock exchange. So people don't have any more fixed prices, but it depends on demand and the supply. And that's where the money is today, especially for the tour operators. The money is when you have a good focus on yield. That is where you make the money at the moment.
One of the changes you sometimes notice is that some tour operators are changing the booking conditions.
Yeah, but that's I mentioned the flexibility. One of the things is, when you talk about flexibility, things we hear a lot is that people complain about the last minutes. And they are not that cheap anymore, the last minutes. And that's because of this yield focus, because the tour operators focus on yield. We are not that much last minutes in the traditional sense of the word, like being oriented, being based on having bargain, having a cheap last minute. There are, of course, last minutes, but then it's related to, booking at the last minute. And that's also because of this yield focus. And the second thing is about booking conditions. We have this very interesting discussion in our country, in our association with all the members, tour operators and travel agents, because we have to be flexible, also because we have to be flexible towards the consumer, but also have to be flexible in order to be able to compete with new entrants, about the flexibility of our booking and cancellation conditions. It is a very minor problem, but it is an example of how you should think as an industry in order to promote or to stimulate being flexible, is that if you, for instance, for new entrants, Booking.com, if you as a consumer book a room at Booking.com and you enter the hotel, you can cancel booking a room for a room for, in most cases, for nothing. If you do the same in the traditional organized channel, the tour operators, travel agencies, they have some troubles there, because with regard to our booking conditions, you have to pay a cancellation fee, which is, in one case, it's good because it proved the worth, because it's a USP. It gives you reliability. They are negotiated with consumer organizations, and it really is a USP. But at the moment, if we don't give a consumer more choices, then they are more a burden than they are really an asset. So we have to be more flexible as an industry. We have to adapt to new conditions.
There is a saying, never waste a crisis.
Yeah.
What would you recommend the actors in the chain of tour operating to do, the tour operators themselves and the travel agents?
Yeah, never waste a crisis. But my thesis here is that all those developments we see, because I think it's fascinating, because I have an independent position in the Dutch market. And when you take a helicopter and look down, and I don't know how it is with you in the audience, but if you look at what is happening in the travel sector at the moment, I think it's fascinating, because the landscape is changing, the buying patterns are changing, consumers are changing, we have new entrants, we have new IT techniques, which are really give a lot of potential. But that makes that our industry is changing. That's not because of the crisis, but the crisis is really deepening that. It's making it, accelerating because of the crisis. So it's indeed what you say, never waste a crisis. And you see the fascinating things happening now in Europe and also in my country, but I'm sure also in Germany, is that companies are looking for new positions. They are looking for new positions in the value chain. They are redefining their value, their added value, and looking for new or for other partners in order to be more able to compete. And this is really something which I think it's fascinating.
So for the travel agents, you can see a kind of change from a transaction to interaction.
No, yeah, we have to. Yeah, that's one of my. I don't know what's the English word for that, but there's something I very much believe in. That if you look at the several disciplines you have, tour operating and travel agencies, then also those companies have to change. And I see one very, very big trend, which is, especially if you look at the function of and the added value of travel agents, that there is a shift from transaction to interaction. And I think if you look at, I very much believe in the travel shop, because that's the best place to communicate with a customer and to give him the inspiration and the excitement and everything. But then in a modern way. So we should be able, together with the help of IT, social media and digital tools, to bring this shop with the help of IT to the consumer. And to release these travel agents from its own setting, as it were, and with the help of technique. And I strongly believe in this shift from transaction, because that's a simple IT. Transactions are important, because that's what makes our profit. We have to have consumers. But that is more and more becoming a traditional tool, a very simple tool. That's boring IT. The booking tools do that for you. You have to concentrate on making this interaction with the consumer.
So the travel industry has to be distinct from what is provided on internet.
Well, that's the main advice. Well, not advice, but what I see, what's going to happen is that if you look at the added value of a travel agent, then we have to dissociate ourselves from the product. We are, as travel agents, too much product oriented, and that's old school thinking. That's really something which stems from the past century. We shouldn't do that anymore. And we have, from one way or another, we have to shift from this product-oriented thinking to, see the product as a tool to connect with the consumer. I don't know if I explained that very good, but it's not in the product itself, the added value anymore, but it's working with the product towards the consumer. And that makes the added value of the travel agent, which means that there are also other competitive advantages. It's no longer with the product. That's the problem or the challenge of the tour operator. He should do that, and that's his core competence. We, travel agents, should more and more focus as a competitive advantage at the consumer, which also means other core competences. So not anymore related to product, but more to the personal, the individual, and the direct contact with the consumers. Let me give you what I mean, give you an example. We talk about customer journey and being customer-oriented. And we have this customer journey, and all the consultants, maybe they are consultants in this room, but when I look at the customer journey, they always start with when the customer starts and enters a travel shop or enters a booking on the internet. But for me and for the customer, if you really are customer-oriented, this customer journey is really an emotional customer journey. It starts dreaming of a holiday, and it ends when you edit a movie, or when you put your pictures in Dropbox or in a catalog. And if you look at that wide customer journey, then it's strange that we as a travel sector, and especially travel agents, only focus or mostly focus on the most unsexy, unemotional things in this whole customer journey. Booking conditions, travel information. That's strange. So I think personally that we should move from this transaction to interaction to really connect with the customer. And that's where the added value of the travel agent is. So we need, if you look at the modern, and that's also why I think that travel agents, in the old sense of the word, and in the business model we have at the moment, it's a little bit like a dead-end street. I don't believe in the function of a travel agent in this business model we have, because we are too expensive. They are too expensive in a commoditized world, and because of the internet, lots of travel products have changed and turned into commodities. Then this travel agent is a too expensive channel to distribute the products. So we have to change and to try and to see if we can connect with the consumer.
I think we have almost come to the end of the interview
Again?
because our time
Oh.
is up. So one final question. At the moment we're living in a dynamic world where the market is changing extremely fast. How would you anticipate the future-proofness of the travel industry for the decades to come?
Oh, I think, and that's the nice thing, and what I see, if you look at the European travel sector at the moment, it's fascinating what is happening. Everybody is looking for new positions, and they're thinking about making new choices, differentiating, give a very clear position in the market, choosing their partners. And that's what the travel industry at the moment. And we see in Holland very nice examples of that. So there's a lot of possibilities and lots of future for the travel industry. And what I always think is when you see all those changes, and I always think about this famous quote of Darwin, the survival of the fittest, which does not mean survival of the strongest, but the one who is the most flexible to be able to adapt to this new environment. And when I see what is happening economy-wide, it's not that companies go bankrupt because they do the wrong things, or they have problems because they do the wrong things. Most companies go bankrupt or have problems because they hold on, they cling too much to ideas who were good in the past. And I know one thing for sure is that nostalgia is not a very good, viable, and not very durable business model. So we have to change. Tour operators have to look for new added value, not anymore the packaging of the product, because there is no added value anymore. That's also an IT tool. It's not in the packaging of the product, but it's in the uniqueness of the product, in the uniqueness of the content. There is the value added for a tour operator. And a modern retailer, because that's the agent it's going to be, from agent to retailer, there he has to be very much concentrated on making this link with the consumer. And then he will have a very, very good future to go.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oudam. I hope we have been able to address a few of the salient issues in the travel industry of today. And thank you very much.
Thank you.